Well, today is actually Thursday, and we went ahead and delivered the coils, and then we ended up having another load to pick up, and I can't really pronounce the name, but it's another town in Iowa, and we picked up some flour. We're going to be taking that down to Kansas City, Kansas, and which is only like a 6-hour trip. So we're going to be taking that down there. And probably what's going to happen is I'll get another load coming from, I think St. Joe or something like that. We get loads out of there too. So I'm probably going to get something that area and then come back. You kind of trying to play yourself out and trying to expect what's going on and try to get a game plan ahead. Try to guess what the dispatch is going to do. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, but the more I do it, the more I know where the customers are and locations and stuff, and I can pretty much look and say, yeah, that'll probably be my next load or whatever. So right now we're going south, and it's getting a little bit warmer than it was last night. It was like -14, and now it's about 18 degrees above zero, so we're in a heat wave. So we're traveling down here on 35, and we're making our paychecks again. We haven't been home yet. We still got a paperwork of last week in here, and we're working on this week's as well. So we got 2 weeks worth of paperwork to turn in, and it feels like I need to get it done. There might be a little delay in the pay, but sometimes that happens. That's why you also need to have a good buffer as far as your expenses and stuff like that to cover some of these extra weekends and weeks that, if something happened and you don't get a paycheck, because it'll catch up next week. As long as I'm keep rolling, it'll catch you back up. But you can't always expect to have everything work out, like clockwork, without having some sort of backup system. And I have a backup system. I have a buffer system for finances and stuff that really kicks in when we do it. It just depends how much you have in the buffer and how well it's going to be laid out. I got extra food here in case I run out of cash, for food on the road. I got other supplies for in case I break down, clothing. I've got 3 ways of getting cash to me in case I need it. So, that type of stuff. And this week we're going to work on communication, and so far we've meddled with the topic a little bit. One thing that really makes the company is that, like I told you, you have different departments. You have the safety department, you have the dispatch, and you have the driver. You also have the shop, and within the dispatch area, you also have planners and salespeople. The sales team goes and gets your customers, and then you got the planners who sees the loads and puts it in the computer and makes it available to the dispatchers. And they plan the criteria from the driver and try to match it up with the criteria of the loads so that, you can work out a plan to get that criteria down. Sometimes, the loads aren't available to work out that criteria, but if you're in a big company, you kind of ask for loads going in a certain direction or whatever, and they may be there and they may not be there, so you might have to take something else. Or with the big company, sometimes you have an option to, refuse a load. But I never kind of refuse a load. I always like to be paid for what I do, and I don't want to be too picky. But yeah, if it's time for me to go home, they need to find loads for me to go in that direction. Small companies, they have some routine loads that they always have access to, so they don't have too much of a problem of getting me home on time and when I need to be, which is kind of nice. And they have to look at how many miles I have for that week, and being that it's, getting close to the end of the week, how much I need to have in order to get close to the 2,000. I probably won't get to the 2,000 mark this week, but they're going to get me close as they can, and then get me home on the weekend so I can restart next week as a good week and be back into the sync of things, which is kind of nice. It's going to be Valentine's this next Monday, and we're going to probably hang out with a special date for my wife and I. It will be very nice to do. We don't have much personal time because we have a lot of family that lives with us because of the crunch times and the economics and stuff like that. So, usually when we get a chance to have our own time, we need to take it, and we try. So, I also learned that I got a third grandson on the way. It's not a grandson, grandchild, I should say. We haven't figured out what the sex is going to be yet. But, so it's going to be a party. And so whenever we have the time available, we use it. And like last week, since I broke down and I had to spend 4 days, I went and used that time to catch up on my paperwork, catch up on my computer work, doing stuff that I didn't have time for. You make up for that time. You use that time when you get it because you don't always get it. And you can't keep complaining that, I don't have time for this or that. It comes up. It may not come up when you expect it or when you wanted it, but there it is, So if you're going to use it, use it. If you don't, that's your call. And so, communication, man, that's a key thing. Especially as a driver, I need to know quite a bit about whether, say, a load information comes in. I need to know where to go. I need to know what town. I need to know the address. You'd be surprised at how many companies I've actually worked for where they forget to give you the information that you would think that they would give you as common sense. Like, if you want me to go pick something up, give me an address. It sounds simple, but you'll be surprised how many companies I've actually driven where they said, let me give you an address, or they kind of have an attitude, well, you should have known where we wanted you to go. They give me perk information, like if there's a special way to get into a plant. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to go to plant A and pick up something. Well, plant A has a special driveway which you can only access if you were driving south on a particular street. So if they don't tell me that, and I go north on that particular street, and I finally see it, and I see, well, I can't get it that way, so I'm going to have to drive clear around, trying to get turned around to go back the direction I'm supposed to be in. Communication needs to be fresh, and it needs to be up to date. And not only is it the driver that needs the communication, but the dispatch needs the good communication as well. You got the different departments, and this is critical. If you're going to go into a trucking company, you need to look at these different departments They're going to tell you whether or not they're a good company or not by how well they communicate to each other. I've seen a lot of companies where, let's say a guy took his truck into the shop, and you would think that the shop would actually notify dispatch what trucks are available to use, what trailers are available. If safety sees that there's no permits in this one truck, or something needs a new license plate, or something is busted, they would have to notify the shop to say, hey, these need to be fixed. Oh, okay. And shop communicates, okay, we fixed that, and then they notify dispatch, hey, this is available. You would think that kind of communication's there. But 9 times out of 10, it's not. Shop would actually take the truck in and not notify dispatch. And then dispatch would think, well, this truck is available, so they put that truck on a load, call for the driver, wondering why the driver's not picking up that load, and then the driver says, well, it's in the shop. Oh. Well, now they got to scramble and get another truck on that load because they just committed themselves to a load that no truck is available for. Okay. A lot of fumbling and stuff like that. It really gets to be hectic if the communication isn't there. And then if the driver, let's say for instance he's not feeling well, or he's almost out of hours, but he's not telling dispatch, he just figures that they know, and if the dispatch doesn't know that you have a problem, you don't tell them. You want them to assume that, hey, I got a problem here. And if they don't know and they don't act like they know, and you take it personally and say, well, these stupid people, dispatch, and that happens. People don't talk to each other, and they wonder why the other person doesn't understand what's going on. It's mainly communication and point of view that really makes or breaks the mechanics of it. And this is applied by businesses. This is applied by family. Family don't communicate. You never know what's going on. If the husband doesn't communicate to the kids and the family and whatever, and just shuts the door to his own point of view or perspective, and something was wrong, and he doesn't share, the family don't know. There's no way of communicating. Kids have problems, they don't want to talk about it. Mothers don't talk about their problems. And pretty soon you got a bunch of problems that nobody wants to know about, or they want to know about, but they don't want to communicate to anybody else. You kind of remember how you ever ask somebody, say, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, I'm fine. What kind of communication is that? Of course, they don't want to hear all the whining stories. Oh, I got a broken arm and a broken leg, and I have problems with my wife, or I'm having problems with my kids. But other than that, I'm doing okay. I appreciate that. It's a kind of two-parted thing, but the communication's got to be there, but it's got to be there in the right time. And it's a needed item, but especially for trucking, you gotta communicate. Out here, I have to communicate to other drivers what I'm going to be doing. When I get to a place to pick up and to pick up a load, or to go to deliver a load, I go to a new place almost all the time, except for the routine ones that I've been there before. But still, as I get there, I have to look for signs. I have to look for indications of what I need to do in order to deliver this load or to pick up this load. and you look at the facility, there might be signs, there might not be signs. There might be somebody come up and tell you what needs to happen, or they just assume that you're going to figure it out. And you can really tell how well that place really runs by when you get there, how much communication you actually get when you come to the door. And you really get treated a lot better. I think people treat you better or have a better personality when you actually go there and you see that, hey, you got good communication, I know what I'm doing, great, I go in and go out, get it done. You seem to find those people or those places that have better personalities because they give you better service, and you're able to give them service, and there's not a whole lot of stress. But the places that don't have a lot of good communication, you go in there, you can feel the attitude, you can feel the problems with people trying to get their job done, but people are in the way, and they treat the drivers like, well, why are you here? Oh, now I got to stop and go unload your truck and can't do what I need to do. And, you know, they're just not happy people. And I think that basically it has to be the three things that we've already discussed. The place is not safe, and they're not doing much service because they don't have any communication. Those three, you know, they'll make it or take it, and hopefully we'll be able to explore more of that. But as you can see, just like going down here, I have to have communication to make it work, and then I have to communicate to the dispatch saying what's going on so they can work along with me. And then I communicate to my family what's going on so they can expect when I'm going to be home, when I'm not going to be home. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm never alone on this trip because I bring my family with me. I always communicate every single day, and I never go it alone. So this is what works. And so we're going to go down there here in Kansas City, and we're going to enjoy a little bit of a warmth. It's right now 21 degrees, so it feels like a heat wave. So let's go enjoy it.